Nice one. So, ready to kick off?
Yeah, man.
Nice one. Let's go. Do you like my t-shirt?
Lovely.
Nice one. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new edition of the RGM Experience with me, Carl Maloney, here in Manchester. And I'm with Roy from the Shed Project in his van while he's waiting for paint dry, I believe, mate.
Yeah, man. I'm just in Ernston. I'm just waiting for some paint dry, some edges dry, so I can finish the job. Uh,
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, mate.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, what we do, we get a lot of young new bands that are just making waves in the industry, mate. And we've not had any people from my generation.
yeah,
I think that's the kindest way of putting it. Us older types that, particularly yourself, you've been in bands for years and years now, and you've been there, you've seen it all. So I'm excited to have a chat with you about your experience of being in and around the music industry, particularly in this neck of the woods. I know you're a Bolton lad and
yeah,
you've a lot of
yeah.
experience in Manchester and that. So yeah, welcome to the show, mate.
Cheers, pal. Thank you very much. Looking
So,
forward to it.
nice one. So where did it all begin for little Roy Fletcher then? So just talk us through your history of just getting into music, and let's go way back.
I was brought up Council Estate in Tom Moore in Bolton. And then obviously then your mum's records are scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
My mum was into Northern Soul. She listened to the radio every day and stuff like that. So from 4 year old, you know what I mean? You're looking through your mum's collection, messing about. I weren't allowed to touch them, like, but I
Yeah.
and my very early influences from my childhood and mainly Northern Soul and stuff like that. Then in
Have you ever had a go at the dance?
Oh yeah, I've brought me neck a few times. You know what I mean? I go to Northern Soul nights now in Bolton
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
around Bolton. I love Northern Soul. I love Motown. I love it. I just love the feeling of it and
Yeah.
how it makes you just tap your feet straight away and stuff like that. So that's my very early influences. But
And
as soon
how
as
old were you then when you were having those experiences?
very early, 4 or 5 year old, you know what
Oh,
I mean? Just when I was born, you know what I mean? Music was built straight into me from my mum. And then Breakdance the movie come out in '84. Ozone and Turbo and all that, the big breakdance thing with the Lino and the Ghetto Blasters. And I hung about with a lot of older lads.
mm,
And they're all about with the Adidas First On and all that and with the beatboxes and stuff. So I just tagged on to them when I was like, I was over then, 8, something like that, you know what I mean? So I got ever into rap music then from that because Ice-T was in Breakdance the movie and stuff like that. And I got really into rap. And then around 86, 87, there was Bustis with Stu Allen. He used to play the dance tunes, but he used to have a rap show as well.
mm.
So it'd be like the Two Live Crew and then Public Enemy, things like that. So my first real love of music, my proper real love when I understood music was rap music. Um, and then obviously then you had the rave scene and stuff like that. And I
I,
remember in
I
go
can
on,
remember. I think we're similar ages. I can remember having
46, mate, me. I'm 46. So yeah,
45 in Mamie, so it's similar
yeah, yeah,
kind of times, isn't it?
yeah.
So I can remember having an NWA record and getting told off by my father for having
Yeah.
that type of music on, just swear words and that kind of stuff on it. And because he was just a lot like an old rocker into, I don't know, Def Leppard and all that kind of stuff. So when he heard me listening to NWA and Onyx and rap from Gleeglis in Sheffield, it was a bit of a shock to the system for to see what his son was listening to.
Well, my mum and dad used to swear more than me, you know what I mean? So
Uh,
that's why I swear a lot now. You know,
yeah,
like we had nothing growing up, you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's why I wrote the song My Life, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I think it was late '88. My mate Danny Brown from Tom Moore, he said, "Here, listen to this," and he played me "Elephant Stone" by the Stone Roses,
Right.
and that completely changed my life.
Yeah.
And it completely changed my outlook on music. And
Yeah.
I got into the Roses. He did me a tape with the Mondays on. Then the Charlatans come along, North Side, and then
Yeah.
just that from '88 to '92. Wow, that's just the greatest generation of music for me. You had the rave scene and you had the indie scene on the back of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think the Stone Roses are the greatest band what I've ever been.
Yeah, mate. I know exactly where you're coming from, but let's slow down a little bit. Then you just went,
Yeah.
you just went through 20 years then of music and stuff. So just going back to little Roy Fletcher, when you start listening to music at school and stuff, what was the environment like at school as a music loving person, and the politics around your childhood? What was it like growing up in your area back then?
It was rough. Like I said, we never had anything. We grew up with absolutely nothing. My mum didn't work because she couldn't. My dad was a trolley pusher at Asda, you know what I mean, on about 80 quid a week. So we brought ourselves up really. But with me hanging about with older lads, 5 years older than me, I learnt pretty quick and I got pretty streetwise pretty quick, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And there was a big pandemic of heroin around somewhere where I lived and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I got brought up pretty quick, you know what I mean, and streetwise pretty quick.
So how did you make your way through that kind of environment and safely?
You just get wise, don't you? You know what I mean? You just get wise to it, and you know what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? Your mum and dad teach you manners. Your mum and dad teach you the right and wrongs. But in an environment of growing up on a council estate in Bolton, you've got to make your own way in life. You know what I mean? And I think growing up that way has made me the decent person I am today. If you know what I mean?
I do, mate. And who was around you as a young lad that gave you hope in these situations? Because I speak to a lot of bands that see bands just getting to the next level, and it inspires the community around them, doesn't it? That kind of stuff. When you see people around you making waves. So, was there anybody that stood out in your childhood that you thought,
not like I say, we just there was like when we play football and stuff like that. There was lads who were at United and things like that. It was pretty decent football, and so that kept me on the straight and narrow and stuff like that. And then just the music, really. Like I say, the Mondays, the Roses, making my own tapes. I used to sit in on the charts, on a Sunday. I'd make my own little mixes and stuff like that. Bought my first record in '86 called Wrap It Up. It's a compilation of rap music, and I've still got that. So yeah, and I started collecting vinyl from 10, 11-year-old with paper money and stuff like that.
Have you still got it all there now? And
still got a lot of it, yeah. Obviously, when you're a bit skint, you start selling things and stuff like that. But yeah, the majority of my vinyl collection I've still got when I was a kid. I wish I'd have had my mum's vinyl collection because that was amazing. I just do not know where that went. I haven't got a clue. She probably sold it when she was skint, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can imagine. So like having all this music, did you have musical instruments around you as a kid?
I've never, but like I say, it's only the past 9 years I've got into music really. Never as a kid. I was always into football and then going out, doing whatever, going to gigs, going on holiday and stuff like that. So I come into actually playing music and writing music pretty late in my life. You know what I mean? About 30, 36-year-old, 37-year-old.
Why did it take so long then?
Always wanted to do it. Always mimicking the front men. Always listening to music, but just distractions in your life. I had my first kid at 21. He's 25 now, and you know what I mean. And just getting off your nut every week and going out and enjoying yourself and being a lad.
Yeah.
I think that's being more of a lad and enjoying myself and living my life. That was my main priorities, really. You know what I mean? And no regrets as well. Been there, seen it, done it.
I love these kind of conversations because we're from different parts of the country, but so similar in many ways. Because I had a similar kind of path. I never bothered about children and that kind of stuff. So my kind of passions were music, going out, starting bands, and just being around creative music people. It's a special place to be, isn't it?
Well, like I say, I've always been going to gigs and stuff like that, and I've always kept my eye on music, and I've always been into music. So, but I thought like being in a band was always a pipe dream. You know what I mean? I never ever thought in my life I'd be in a band and write my own music and stuff like that. So it's mad how I've got into it so late.
Yeah, man. What were the first gig you ever went to?
I think it was Madness. It was at the G-Mex, I think. I think that was about 92, 93. I'm not too sure. Because like I said, I was into the Manchester stuff, the Manchester scene, but my mum won't give me any money to go. Two of my mates, they were massive New Fads fans, and they were like, "You've got to see this band, got to see this band." And it's like, "Mum, can I have some money if I go there?" No, you can't go, you can't go. So once I started working in 92 as an apprentice on 27.50, I could start doing my own things then, you know what I mean?
I love how you can remember how much everybody were paid back in the day.
27.50 for 2 years, yeah. Uh, so yeah, it's just thingy. But yeah, I've always been around music and always connected with people and stuff like that. So like I said, that's my connections have got me through life. A bit of a blagger, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Uh,
do you ever get imposter syndrome?
what's say that again? Sorry.
Do you ever suffer with imposter syndrome? You know, like you're just blagging it, faking it till you make it. You're blagging it. You know, you think,
I've just blagged it all my life. I've blagged it into gigs. I've blagged it into football matches. You know what I mean? I've blagged other things.
yeah,
What I won't go into. You know what I mean? But it's just living a life and dodging and dealing all your life. You know what I mean? And just meeting people and and taking people at face value and stuff like that and just cracking on.
yeah. So you're just grafting through. You know, making your way, earning a crust.
Yeah,
Until
paint and
how old?
decorator. Yeah,
And have you always done painting and decorating?
yeah. I've been a paint and decorator since '92. Wanted to be a draftsman. Wanted because I was pretty decent at drawing, and everyone wants to be a footballer. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. But my mum, I had about 6 weeks off when I left school. My mum was mithering me every day. You better go. So it was like this advert come up in Bolton Evening News, and funny enough, it was my mate's dad, and he wanted an apprentice painter, and did that. Never looked back. I've got 6 lads who work for me now, and pretty successful business. So all the word of mouth as well. Never advertised in my life.
Yeah.
Just all word of mouth. Best way.
So you know, because the band's doing so well, you've got a massive following. Um, have you taken some of the skills you've learned from working an adult life into making the band happen? How did the transition work for you personally?
It was pretty easy, because like I say, I'll speak to anyone, I'll talk to anyone, and I'm pretty good at reading people. So I think now with bands and artists, I think 80% of it is social media driven, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you're not driving the social media, you're not going to get out there. You know what I mean? It's not like the old days where there were gig advertising in the back of NME and Select and stuff like that, and you go to that. Now you've got a graft because there's so many bands and so many people out there, so you've got to make yourself appeal to people and be honest with people. You know what I mean? So,
So
and I think that's our appeal, that we're honest with people and
yeah.
we're just normal lads with normal jobs and normal families.
So what happened in your life to say fuck this? I'm just going to start a band and I'm having it. Would you talk me through? You
It
know,
was it was in 2013. A lad called Warby, he lives in Mauritius now, a good mate of mine, and John, who's in the band now, rhythm guitarist. Vince and Carl was our old drummer, and Vince was in the band as well. They started strumming on guitars in the bedrooms and stuff like that, and they got in an attic of a pub in Bolton, and they needed it. And I heard about this, and I thought I'm gonna come and have a look, and they needed a bass player, so I said I'll have a go at it. You know what I mean? So Carl lent me a bass. First tune I learnt was "I Wanna Be Adored," and we just kept going in the attic, and the name come out, the Attics. That's what we were called, and we
classic.
were just like doing Roses covers and Oasis stuff like that. And we did a couple of gigs for the lads and stuff like that, but it triggered something inside me to start writing. I'd always wrote in my head, but I'd never put it down on pen and paper. So the first song I wrote was One Shot. Then I wrote Lucky Number, and then I think it was 2018. I got in the shed with John then. John kept sending me these little guitar pieces on WhatsApp, what he'd wrote. He was working nights and he'd just take this bad old Strat with him and come out with these little melodies and stuff like that. And he kept sending them me, can you put lyrics to that? And I said, yeah, of course I can. So me and him got in his shed. Next minute, we had about 10, 12 acoustic demos. Then 6 months later, we bumped into Tim, who's our bass player, great guitar player as well. Tim is, and we knew he'd been in bands in the late 90s and stuff like that. So we invited him down to the shed. He'd heard what we were doing, so he'd listened to it, and then he started making these little demos into songs, structured them and stuff like that. So 2020, we had Living there. The production was terrible, but we had a song, you know what I mean? And we said, let's just get it out, you know. So we released Living in 2020, and we got a little bit of local response off it and things like that. And then we had One Shot in February 2020, released that. And then that was it, really. It was just like, but then when we joined Twitter in June of 2020, that's when things kicked off, and we released Lucky Number, and then people started getting on the Twitter community and stuff like that. And that's when it opened my eyes to all the other stuff out there.
So like social media, like I presume, when did you start seeing social media about and thinking we've got to get involved with this thing because it's going to be important?
Like I said, we joined the Twitter in 2020, but I just know that by connecting people through my job and who I am, and if you start connecting with people on social media, whether it's just an hello or stuff like that, people, you know, you've got that connection. And then, like I said, people like Eddie Hansen, Mike Tanner, they all got hold of like Lucky Number, and that was it. Then it just got shared and shared, so it's built up gradually over the last 3 years.
Where do you think these lyrics come from, Roy?
Just my life experiences. I just write about what I've done in my life, you know. Lucky Numbers about meeting my wife for the first time. Bedtime, what we released, that's about my mum dying of cancer and my brother having a heroin problem. So they're all pretty personal lyrics. My life is about me growing up in Tom Moore when nothing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's mad how it just comes out, because I can just write lyrics, get a melody in my head. If something comes into my head, I can write a song within 5 minutes, and then I'll hum it to Tim, John, Ollie, and Shane, and I'll have this melody in my head, and within 5 minutes they're on it. You know what I mean? It's just mad how it works.
I'm always fascinated with lyric writers because I've never been able to. I've been in bands before, and I can write melodies on guitars. I feel like I'm quite good at that. But when it comes to lyrics, just cheesy shit just flows out of me, and it's horrible. And
I'll see something or something will trigger me, and then within a minute I've got it there, bang, and then I'll have this thing in my head constantly, and I can't wait to get in to just hum this tune, and instantly they're on it as well. So it's mad how it works. It's crazy.
Do you ever surprise yourself with some of the things that come out of your head?
Yeah, when I wrote My Life, I was in my back garden. I converted me old battered shed into a pub in my back garden, and I just had this thing got dragged up when I was born on a council estate, and then it just flowed. And I normally have pen and paper, but I had to download a notebook on my phone to get this down because it was in my head. And I had it, bang, and then a week later, me and John went in his shed and got it down and put it to them lot and went, wow, this is special. Same with Feel My Love. We did exactly the same with that as well. Just mad how it works. But it's just 30 odd years of frustration and not being in a band and watching bands, you know what I mean? That's what I think it is.
So when you first started as a Shed project, then you're out there in the world, you've got this history behind you, a bit of frustration of, you know, maybe starting a little bit late in it all. Do you wish you'd have started earlier?
Not really, because I'm doing it for the enjoyment of it. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I do it because it's my therapy. You know what I mean? It's like a therapy to me. Because if I weren't doing this, I'd be doing something else. You know what I mean? And it just keeps my mind occupied. You know. So yeah, I just love it, and we all do it for the enjoyment of it. Which I think is the best thing to approach things like this.
100%. When we had you down, just as an observation, when we had you headlining down at RGM Live down at Gulliver's recently, the band itself, there's such a nice community around you all. It was just that you're all very welcoming. You're all, you know, like you've got to have a relationship with your band when you put them on as well. I've got to have a relationship with the band for me to be able to risk putting them on and potentially losing money as a promoter as well, just to be honest about it all. But you guys, you were just so honest about everything. Everything you told us was accurate around You know, the type of people that you're going to have down, you know, the amount of people that you're going to have, the set times. We opened up a lot of communication about gigs, didn't we? And it's nice to see that from a band, because I don't get that a lot from bands
Yeah,
that we have on. It was just such a nice community around you that
yeah,
I just felt there was something different about you guys.
yeah. Well, we'd like to make it an event as well instead of
Yeah,
just a normal gig. That's why we've got MC Tunes with us, and
yeah,
like he'll play all the Hacienda stuff, and before we go on, and then he'll come on with us during the set, and that's what we did at London the other week, and people were still there out like 2 hours afterwards. You know what I mean? Just dancing away, and so yeah, it's a sense of community. Our first gig at the Phoenix Club, there's 400 people there, and there were people who hadn't seen each other for years, and that's just that sense of community and bringing people together, and if we can do that, you know what I mean, it's a buzz for us.
yeah.
But yeah, the following we've got is unbelievable around the Northwest. It's
It,
unbelievable.
it's such a nice, warm experience being around Shed Project fans, because they're all the similar age to me, and it's just like they're just out having another night out, just forgetting about all the troubles and all the shit that goes on in life, and they're
Yeah,
just out there just having a big party and a big celebration of music and enjoying your tunes. It's just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
love it.
Like I say, London the other week, I think I have 3 out of body experiences. You know what I mean? And it was like I think we nearly packed. Well, we packed out the water. Actually, we're near a near sellout. So for us, 5 lads from Bolton who you know we were just having a laugh about it, to sell at an iconic venue like that and have the night what we had. It was just unbelievable. I got into My Life on the third track, the third tune what we sing, and everyone just started clapping and singing it back, and it was like I had sunglasses on, and I think my body just went on top of me, and I don't know, it was mad. I had to suck in air on that one. I was thinking, wow, this is just unbelievable. You know what I mean? And it were people who'd never seen us before, and that made it even more special.
Yeah, well, I'm going to come to these gigs shortly, but I just want to hang around, like, you know, your experience of the music industry over the last few years. So, you know, you said yourself, you've been there, you've seen it. What kind of pitfalls have you seen over the last 10 years or so that bands could easily slip into, to try and help out the younger people or the younger musicians that might be watching this video?
Well, I
And
don't know if you've seen it. Like we help, I share things on Twitter. Like I say, going on Twitter 3 years ago opened me up to so many bands. I was still stuck in '89 3 years ago. I was still listening to the Roses, the Mondays religiously. But then, bang! I just seen this scene, this community, and I thought, who are these bands? And to hear like 17-year-old kids playing songs like the Roses, the Mondays, and all that, like Marseille and Pastel, Athlete's Palace, and then the Skylights every North, just discovering all these bands every single week. It's just blown my mind away. So, like I say, I share things because I like it and I enjoy it, you know what I mean? And we get messages off of the bands, thank you so much, and all that, you know. But yeah, there's 95% of the music community is good, but then you've got the other 5% who are just in it for the money and the fame and all the glory, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of them people about, which I've
this fame
realized.
and glory, I haven't seen any of that fame and glory, mate. Have you yet?
Well, you know what I mean, though. That you know, like some of these people have got bigger egos than the band. You know what I mean? It's like, what you in it for? You in it to make a bit of money, or you in it for the love of the music? You know what I mean? And most of the people are in it for the love of music. You know, and I think I think it's better when it's like that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these kids, they get promised the world, don't they? You know, we'll get you here, we'll get you there, we'll get you on this festival, we'll get you there, but it doesn't end up like that. And you see a lot of bands uh, jacking it in. You know what I mean? There's Arfold from Bolton, 12 years, and one of the best bands I've seen live. And you know, they've called it a day. And you've got our mates the Jade Assembly from Bolton. Their album's out soon, and but it's 12 years they've been doing it and doing it and doing it, and that's how hard it is to get in this industry, get on in this industry. But
I can remember meeting Arfold at Kendall Calling when I were very worse for wear, and I had a little drink with them. But they were nice lads, and
yeah,
Jade Assembly. We've covered Jade Assembly loads of times on RGM as well. They're
yeah.
all good. They're all good, solid lads from Bolton. It feels like.
Well, Danny, the bass player out of Jade, he's our producer now.
Oh, nice.
So big up to Danny. He's got a bedroom studio.
Mm.
So we've been going in there with him the last 2 years now. Because obviously we're doing it ourselves, and it worked very good. So we got Danny on board, and we're getting better and better. But yeah, like I say, what's happened to us in the last week, you know what I mean, with a promoter. We thought he had the venues booked. We had it on the posters for 3 months, and then we found out a week and a half before the gig, the venue wasn't even booked. You know what I mean? So we've just had a bad experience that way, and it won't happen again. Believe you me.
I can imagine, and there's no worse than, you know, we're talking about pitfalls in the industry, aren't we? And
Yeah.
for the right reasons. We want to raise awareness of the problems that can happen, particularly for new bands. You've kind of got to find your own path in this music industry as well, and you're always going to make mistakes, and things are going to happen.
Yeah.
But you know, when people take advantage of bands and believe it or not, just hanging around RGM a little bit, some people don't like that we charge for stuff. When we have to, because it costs 200 quid just to have an active live website a month.
Yeah.
Just on the system. So, you know, I can't afford to fund it myself out of my wage, unless I'll just be, you know, on the bread line anyway.
You so pay gas and electric, mate.
I've got to pay, and that's just gone up this month. So, it's not easy to keep things alive, and I don't think people fully appreciate that. No. You know, to keep something going, and for RGM, I think in this guys, I think we've been doing it nearly 8 years now. I think under different like names and stuff. Carl Maloney Presents and Rate Good Music, and now RGM. It's even more difficult than ever because the costs are going up for everything.
Yeah.
Even a digital online music magazine. We've got to put it somewhere, and subscriptions aren't a thing really. That's not going to happen. So, advertising, it's less than 5% of our turnover is through advertising. So it's nothing. It's nothing. So we've got to do something to stay alive. And how do you feel about, you know, like press people charging it for it? Because I'm just interested in to know what other people think about it, because I can't see another way of doing it without having to do what we do.
I've worked for myself for 31 years, so I know business and I know how things work. You know what I mean? And you've got to do things to survive. You know what I mean? No one's making a lot of money in this industry, if at all. You know what I mean? I think the London gig cost us 400 quid. You know what I mean? But we're doing it for the love of it. And like I said, if something costs something, I don't mind paying for it, because I know what goes on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? I know how what things cost to put on and stuff like that. It's like with the young bands now. You know, the cost of recording, the cost of the advertising, getting it out there and stuff like that. I know how much things cost. So yeah, it's very, very hard. And like I said,
have you ever? Sorry to interrupt you, mate. Sorry, what was it? It's Zoom, innit? We're talking over each other. It's hard work sometimes, isn't it?
It's all right, pal.
Anyway. Have you ever been offered like record deals and stuff like that before?
We've had a few inquiries, but there's two kids from Manchester, One Love Records. They approached us, so we're just working with them on a non-contractual basis, just on a word of mouth basis. They've got a ready-made website. We get our music. You know, they've got all our music, all our merch on there and stuff like that. So we're just working with them at the moment. But I don't think I'd ever sign a record contract. You know what I mean? Because all it is a loan, innit? You know, you've still got to pay them back. If they give you,
if there's money involved with a contract as well, that's rare.
That's what I mean.
It might even be money.
If somebody offers you a 200 grand record contract, you got to pay that 200 grand back. I don't think people realize that. You know what I mean? So you're instantly in debt before you've released anything. So I just say to all these young bands and artists, just be cautious, man. Just be, you know, and if you can, just keep your circle as close as possible and try to do everything yourself, because the technology these days, some of the things what come out of people's bedrooms are unbelievable. You know what I mean? And with the rising cost of things to record and things like that, it's not viable for people to go in studios and record, you know what I mean, without backing.
What I was really impressed with is how does, you know, a band from Bolton, you know, great following in the Northwest up here. How do you, because, you know, a lot of bands will be wondering, how do you get a gig in London and sell it out?
Just by being a blagger.
Right, okay, got you.
No, just like I say, just be honest. Just plug it. Just be on them socials, and
Did
Like
you,
I say, I tried to reply
physically
to
book
it.
it yourself then? Did you physically book the venue yourself, or was it through a
No,
promoter?
we went with Ross at Adored.
Right.
He sent the message. He promoted Dermo last year.
Right.
So he
Okay.
sent the message, would you like to do a gig down London? I said, I'd love to do a gig down London because we were after getting out of the Northwest anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to try the waters. So we said, right, we want to do a gig in London, gig in Glasgow, gig in Birmingham because they were our three biggest cities after Manchester and Bolton on Spotify. So we picked them three
Okay.
too.
Clever.
So Ross in London, it really his second gig he's ever done. He does club nights down there. So we said, genuine bloke. I knew straight away just by speaking to him, I could trust him. Banged it down London, couldn't do enough for us. So big up Ross, you know what I mean? And bent over backwards for us and everything went smoothly. And then
How did it cost you 400 quid then?
because we just for the hotels and things like that.
Oh,
And
right. Okay. Just, yeah, right. Logistics, right.
car, but I'd spend that in Manchester a weekend anyway. So
Fair enough, man.
but I'd pay £1,000 to have that experience myself just one more time. You know what I mean? Because of the energy in the room and just to have another out of body experience, sober out of body experience. You
Nice.
know what I mean? But yeah, and then we Aware Day Radio, Dino Aware Day Radio. He supported us for the last 3 years and stuff like that. Wanted to do Birmingham and Glasgow with us. Said no problem, get it booked. So this was last October. Message me, December venues.
Let's hang around. We're going to get to this story now. Okay, so let's just set the scene a little bit for people that don't know. I can remember. Well, I was sharing away loads of social messages from the Shed Project about you've got this all the great videos that you did down in London. It looked amazing. It looked class.
Yeah.
You could see how excited you were as a band to play these other venues in Glasgow and Birmingham. And then it's all booked. The tickets are on sale. Everything's going nice. So just talk us through, like, in a bit more detail. How did all that happen, and when did you start feeling like things weren't going the way that you wanted?
Well, we'd like I say, we'd first spoke about this in October. So I put it to him then. We got the dates this in last October. So then I got the message, yes, the venues are booked. So we'll announce in late December it was. So I think we announced Birmingham late December, and then 2 weeks later we announced Glasgow. So tickets are on sale, nice and bonny.
Selling well?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
We didn't. Right, okay.
There wasn't much communication between us and the promoter. Messages weren't getting answered, things like that. So I just thought, people work, people have got jobs. I've got job.
But you had a relationship with them for a few years before, so
yeah, they'd always played our tunes on the radio and things. So
they'd always like replied quite quick to you in the past. It was just on this one subject that you saw a bit of a difference, and is that kind of?
Oh yeah, it's like, the tickets are on sale, and then it was about 4 weeks ago, and I'm thinking I've not had much communication or anything like that. So I thought I'd start doing my own digging. So I looked on Dead Waxes. It was at Dead Wax Birmingham. It was supposed to be this Saturday, the 18th. So 3-4 weeks ago, thought I'll look on Dead Waxes listings. We weren't on them. There was bands on them, but our date wasn't on it. And then I looked at Audio Glasgow. Nothing about us, but obviously the ticket link's still up and all that. So I messaged him not last Sunday, the Sunday before. So it's like just under 2 weeks away from the gig. Everything okay, mate? So I got a text message back just saying, yeah, everything's fine. I had a little problem with Dead Wax, but everything's going to be sorted tonight. So I just knew then. I just instantly knew there was something wrong. So and then. To get offered a festival straight away on the back of that, I thought, are you trying to distract me here? You know what I mean? So I played it cool, played it nice, and asked the lads and stuff like that. So our manager Malk said, just give it till Tuesday. So I messaged him Tuesday, what's going on? We need to know for transport, stuff like that, and what have you. Blank me. Wednesday, same message again, blank me again. So that was it then. I said to Malk, I said, there's something seriously wrong here. So Mount managed rang Dead Wax. Have we got a gig for the Shed Project, the 18th, all set and all that? Never heard of you. So it's like, wow. So I've got in touch with Glasgow Audio, gig for the Shed Project, April 22nd. Never heard of you. Nothing down for us. So then, obviously, then it got. I was a bit angry. Messaged him, told him what's gone on, and he was like, I was that angry. He's like, "Can I ring you, explain it?" I'm like, "Fuck off," basically. You know what I mean? You can't blag a blagger, you know. So if he would have been honest to us on that Sunday and said, "Luke, I'm having a problem with the venues," we could have stepped in and helped out. We could have changed venues. We could have sorted it. But to just be dishonest with us and just try and palm us off, you know, I mean, you've got MC Tunes who's been in the industry since '85. He's been there, seen it, worn the t-shirt. You know, our Melt's been in the industry 35 years. So you're not going to pull the wool over our eyes. So yeah, it was disappointing because I do like the fella, you know what I mean? He does a lot for bands, artists, and stuff like that. So I put it out on the socials on the Thursday because we instantly cancelled. I thought, I can't work with this guy if he's being dishonest or not telling us what's going on properly, you know what I mean? Because he must have knew for weeks the venues weren't booked. So that was it, and obviously went on one Twitter, just and what have you. And then last Friday we had correspondence, and he's like, "I'll hold my hands up 100%," but he's still adamant that the venues were booked and stuff like that. But if you've not, I know myself from booking venues for us, like you ring the venue, you provisionally book it, you pay your deposit, you're in the book, and it doesn't whether the booking agents changed or anything like that. Once you pay that deposit, you're in that book, and it's simple as. So that's our take on it, and he'll probably have his take on it. But like I say, he does a lot for bands. He's done a lot for artists. He's working with a lot of bands, and I've got nothing against the man personally. Good luck to him, you know what I mean? But from our experience here, I'll never work with him again. It's simple as.
Well, I have emailed him just to let him know that we're going to be having a conversation today. So I've opened up communication, and I'll speak to him, and we'll have him on the podcast. That's all.
I'll be honest with everyone. You know what I mean? I'm honest and truthful. So, and I've got things to prove that, and I've got nothing bad to say about the man at all or his organisation. If bands and artists there is a lot of bands and artists who've reached out to me and with similar experiences with him and stuff like that, but that's their business. Our business was getting these gigs, planning these gigs, having a buzz at London and looking forward to these gigs, and they've not happened, but we have rescheduled them on our own terms now, so they will be happening.
Yeah, nice. Well, just for just to leave that subject there, I'll put a link in the description of this podcast to the reply that they put on Twitter from Away Day as well, so people can read. They've been unfortunately an email was missed due to a party leaving the aforementioned company and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like there could have been other issues going on in the past that will be on this on this link. So that is their their.
I understand that, but if you know that something's not right, just be honest with the people so we can work it out between each other. Don't try and dust over things what you can't sort out yourself and think that we're fools, you know what I mean? So that's it. That's the end I'm going to say about it. And good luck to the man, you know what I mean? Good luck to him, and good luck to him in the future and stuff like that.
Yeah, well said. So moving forward and cracking on, then there's no way that you're not going to be playing Birmingham and Glasgow, is there?
We're going to announce Birmingham at 5:00 tonight, Friday.
Okay. That'll be out now.
So I'm going to finger. But yeah, Glasgow, we're in the middle of just getting a solid date there. So we're doing that. We've got other things in. We're doing Ride to Rome in Bolton in July. A big festival in Bolton. Certain ratio around trampoline, some big names. We're doing Made in Manchester in September in Romiley. We couldn't do the Bolton one because John's away, but we're doing the Stockport one. Wax and Beans Sessions in September, I think that is. And then we've got a few other little gigs booked in. We want to do Liverpool. We want to do Leeds, and there's a few other cities we want to do. So it's exciting times, but obviously we've got to round our jobs, round our families and things like that. We've got to just take our time and thing.
Just getting 5 adults in the same place on a weekend is hard enough on its own, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Like I say, we've got our own room at Big Unit Studios. That's Gary out of Harfold. It's his own studio. Oh, so we've had that room for 2 years now, so we can come and go as we please there. So we're in at least once a week. Then I'll nip in with Danny and recording. So we've got a good thing going on, and every credit to the lads as well, like Shane.
Gets you out of house, doesn't it, mate? Keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah, well, like I said, the lads as well, Shane, Tim, Ollie, and John, they just, you know what I mean? It's just water off a duck's back. It's like, yeah, we're disappointed. Let's move on. And to work with them lads as well, who are amazing musicians. Ollie's 19-year-old, and
Mm.
some of the sounds what come out of the guitar is like John Squire-esque, you know what I mean? And but Malk, our manager as well, and Tunes as well, MC Tunes who we're working with, just all great people. And we're a little community, a little family ourselves, you know what I mean? So long keep it going.
So you met, we had a little chat the other day about, you know, the community, in particularly in Manchester as well, that we both know and love. Do you want to give a shout out to some of the people, the good, you know, I'll not say that. Did you want to give a shout out to the people that you would gladly recommend to maybe young bands that are, you know, watching this and looking at, how do I get to the next step? Who do I speak to?
Well, there's yourself, RGM, there's Stuart of the Pentatonic, what a guy he is. The Listen Up lads, they're top lads. We've worked with them. I think Moby Tanner and Eddie Anson, they've just started to set up the thing, Oxford based. Ross at Adored, who we've just worked with, fantastic person. So, like I said, there's Kev at our sound. He's a top geezer. We'll be doing something with him. So there's lots of good people out there. You know what I mean? And I mean, once bitten, twice you will never get bit again. You know what I mean? But you live and learn. You know, and I'm not going to be angry about it anymore, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. We just move on, we set up again and crack on. But and yeah,
album 2's on its way and all.
Album 2 sounding absolutely beautiful.
Talk us through like how that's feeling at the minute.
It's just amazing. Like I say, we've had a lot of these songs were written 4 years ago with me and John, and to see them progress now into full songs and stuff like that, and everybody getting the bits. The first album was like bits. It was like the how can I say it? Like the progression, if you know what I mean. It was DIY, the first album. I wanted it to be DIY to show people that you can do it. They were all recorded in different bits and things like that, and pieced together, redone and stuff like that. But as a full us five now, this is like the album, the definitive Shed Project album, and it's just amazing what's coming out of that studio. And every credit to the lads once again. I think we're 7 songs deep now, so
okay,
only another 3 or 4 to go, and then we'll get a track list in. We're hoping to get it out in October. That's the date, and it's called Our Fear Is Their Power.
Oh, nice. So
it's going to be a single to accompany that as well, called Our Fear Is Their Power. There's a motorway bridge going out of Bolton, and it was written on it. And it just struck me straight away. I fear it's just one of them quotes. What I thought, hey up, I've got to write a song about this, and I have as well, and it's an absolute banger. So yeah,
we look forward to sharing the new album. We'll be sharing the new dates that you're announcing soon.
So much.
And we look forward to you. We look forward to seeing your little face when you get on that stage in Glasgow and Birmingham, and just
like I said, it's coming down from the bus from London, and then this happening. It's just made us stronger. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Like I say, I'm. If I say something, I'm going to do it, and it's simple as I'll never let anybody down. But on the Twitter, I tried to reply to every single message we get and things like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, long live the people who supporting us and keep cracking on. You know what I mean?
So what? Just to leave it there then, because I think your paint's just about to dry now, mate. So
yeah, I'm gonna have a brew in a minute.
Yeah, good luck. And yeah, just a final message then to the Shed Project fans, just from you personally. How would you like to leave this interview today? Just a message for them.
We're just truly blessed, and just how people have got on us, and just stick with us and listen to what I've got to say in my music. You know what I mean? Because it will relate to everybody. This second album, and just keep supporting us and come and see us. You know what I mean? Come and have a Shed Project experience. And yeah, thank you for your support, and thank you to everyone who supports us and shares our stuff and stuff like that. So thank you.
Well, Roy, it's an absolute pleasure as always. Love you guys, the music, the tunes. Keep going, mate. Can you see yourself ever stopping?
No, not now. We've got, like I say, I've got 20 odd tunes written there, and
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, good
it's
lad.
going to be album 3 and album 4. And as long as we enjoy it, we'll just keep doing it, because that's all it's about: enjoyment,
Yeah,
satisfaction, and seeing people singing songs back to you. I've had every drug in the world, but there's no drug better than people singing your songs back to you. So
well,
it's just
I wish you all the best. Thanks for joining us today, mate. And just keep cracking on. Keep.
same with you, Carl. And for, like I say, thanks for your support, and you keep doing what you're doing as well, supporting people and getting new music out there. You know what I mean? Because it needs to be heard. It needs to be heard.
Right. Cheers, pal. You're a good lad.
Thank you so much, Carl.
Yeah.
Bye bye, mate.